Hi everyone, Janie here with Jason.
Hi everybody.
And we are doing another question and answer, December question and answer session on this extremely cold and wet day. And Monty is having a really bad day.
Monty's having a rough time.
Monty's having a rough time. He wants to go outside so bad. He's such an outside dog and he can't.
Then he gets outside for like a minute and wants to come back in again because it's cold and wet.
It's very annoying. So if you hear him knocking at the door, that's just ignore him. So anyway, we thought today, since it was rainy, today would be a really good day to answer some questions that you guys have left in the comments section. I never know how often we should do these Q&A videos.
I don't know. I've kind of settled on once a month because I feel like once a week is
too much.
Yeah. But maybe, I don't know, if people feel different, let us know because we could do them probably more often. Mm-hmm. But I don't want it to be question and answer all the time either.
I know.
You know?
All right, so let's get started with this month's question and answer. This goes all the way back to our last question and answer session, which was in November. And after that, we had our November front garden tour. And one question from that video was from Sandra, and she says, Hola, I noticed you planted your daffodil bulbs a whole month earlier than you normally plant. I believe in the past you plant in December. I'm in Zone 10B, Orange County, California. I normally plant in January. Do you think it's okay for me to plant now? So this question was obviously late November last month. There's a range for when you can plant your bulbs, and you kind of have to check with your local garden centers or master gardeners or planting calendar when is a good time to plant for you. For us, it's anywhere November, December, and for me, I think the second week of January is the absolute last time that I can plant. But that's for me in Northern California. Of course, those of you watching in other states and other zones, it's going to be different for you. But you know, if you live in a hot environment, a hot area like Orange County, you want to make sure you're not planting too soon where it's too hot to plant. And that's why they say you should push it off. So I think that if the leaves have started to change and started to fall, you're probably in a good spot because that's probably a good indicator that it's cool enough for you to start planting your bulbs. So hopefully that helps you out, Sandra. I know I was really on top of it this year with my bulb planting.
Yeah.
Right?
This is all interesting. I'm like learning listening to you because I don't even know this stuff.
Usually I'm like, okay, I got to get it by New Year's. I got to get it by the second week of January. But I'm done. I'm absolutely done.
We're way ahead of that.
I know. Yeah. I'm so happy. So thanks for the question, Sandra. It just depends on when you think fall has hit Orange County or whatever area you live in. So I hope that helps. Okay, so next question is from the same video, and this question's from Cindy. She says, just wondering if you put your compost right over the wood chips or did you rake most of the chips away first? So what Cindy's talking about is the way that we're doing our no-till method for gardening. And basically it's called sheet mulching is another way to say it. And what we're doing is we're not tilling the soil. We're just putting about 6 inches of compost on, then we're putting some arborist wood chips on, then we'll put 6 more inches, then arborist wood chips, kind of as it works into the native soil. And Cindy, to answer your question, no, I'm not scraping back any of the wood chips. I am just leaving them there because those are going to decompose and it's actually going to add some really good different sizes of organic matter to your soil. So for soil, you don't want all the particles to be exactly the same size because that will allow them to fit together like puzzle pieces and basically get compacted. So having wood chips in your soil is making it so like the puzzle pieces don't fit, and that makes really lofty, beautiful soil. So I am not scraping back any of the wood chips. That's why one of the good reasons why we chose to have arborist wood chips as mulch. Yeah, it doesn't look as nice as like the black wood chips or something like that.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I think it's a really good trade-off because if you used black wood chips or what else? Any of that fancy kind of mulch, I would say pull that back because that's not going to decompose as quickly. That stuff is made to not decompose as quickly. And so my arborist wood chips will decompose quickly, which is why I don't scrape them back.
So yeah, it's actually worked really well. And the wood chips combined with the compost now there are parts of the garden that we dig in that are like really, really nice. And
beautiful.
It's easy to dig through
Yeah.
and so on, right? So like that is working,
Yeah.
you know, and it combines together and it seems to drain pretty well. I mean, it seems to work really good.
Yeah, you're really happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with it.
Yeah.
It's slow. You have to be patient with this technique. You know, it's going to take years for our soil to be improved to the point where I would say we have good soil, but we're on our way there. And it's relatively cheap compared to, you know, digging out all the soil and replacing it with soil. You know, it's relatively cheap compared to that. But I don't know, it's easy. You don't have to dig. You don't have to pull back anything.
You know what else I was going to say?
What?
Is on the looks of it,
Yeah.
you know, like, yeah, it doesn't look that great right now, but we have a lot of open ground still, right?
Yeah.
And the goal is that we're going to have plants that are covering most of that, at least in the spring and summer, right?
I want like 100% of my ground covered.
Right. And so that's going to take a long time to get there, right?
Yeah.
But then once we do, the mulch that maybe doesn't look as good as like fancy mulch or whatever, it's not going to matter because you're not going to see it.
We won't even,
right?
We won't even need mulch eventually.
Right. So ultimately, like, we're not going to have this issue. It's just
Yeah.
right now it's a little bit of like an awkward phase, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Totally. The prettiest gardens that I've ever seen are the gardens where you don't see mulch and it's just completely covered with ground covers and plants and that's my jam. That's the gardens that I think are the prettiest.
Yeah, you want a big, like a lush, beautiful...
Like our old garden.
Yeah.
Yeah, like our old garden. Yeah. All right, so the next video is the Solving Problems video that I did with Michael Glassman. This one was the one that we did on maintenance. And Penny Johnson asks, would you please explain the effect the wind has on watering? And
this is all you.
Yes, I will explain that. And so what it is, without getting too scientific, is all the leaves on plants have little holes or pores on them called stoma. And that's connected in a chain all the way through the tissue of the plants, the stem, and all the way down to the roots. The whole thing is a chain, and it's all linked together. And that's actually the mechanism how plants absorb water through the soil. So basically, the stoma is where the water evaporates on the leaves. And then as that water evaporates, the whole mechanism, the whole chain, pulls more water up from its roots, through its stems, to its leaf, to its stoma, and that's how it pulls water up from the ground. And so if you have wind blowing over, it's like if a wind is blowing over a puddle or a wet car or something like that. The wind is going to make it dry and evaporate way faster. So the water is going to evaporate out of those stoma on the leaves way faster, and therefore it's going to pull more water from the soil. And so it's all connected. The windier it is, the more it's going to evaporate, the drier the soil is going to be because the roots are going to pull up that much more water. And so that's why you have to make sure that you water that plant well so that there is enough water for those roots to keep pulling up water. Because if it doesn't, if that whole mechanism starts and the water evaporates from the stoma on the leaves and then there's no water to pull up, that's when you start seeing signs of water stress on your plant. So hopefully that helps. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I learned something.
Yeah.
I know some things.
It's kind of interesting that wind actually will dry out your soil, not because the wind is going underground, because it's just causing that to all pull out.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons. Obviously, if wind blows over soil, it's going to dry out the soil, which is why mulch is so important.
Right.
But even if you have mulch on a windy day, the roots will pull more out. It's going to suck more up. Yeah. So water your plants on windy days for sure.
It's a good educational day for me so far.
Yeah. Okay, next video was the wonderful video where it took us 2 months to complete installing the solar lights in the backyard, but so worth it, right?
Yeah.
How nice is it to have those back there?
It looks very pretty.
It looks gorgeous. Yeah. I'm so happy with it. So Sherry asked, Janie and Jason, what is the length of the posts? I'm planning to do some this winter and wanted to ensure I get the right height since I really like yours. Thank you, Sherry, because I was going back and forth on the right height, and I was so nervous about it for so long, right?
Yeah, this was the right place to land on.
It was the right place. So we landed on 10 feet tall. Right. They're actually 12-foot long posts.
Right.
We buried them 2 feet into the ground, which is technically not right, because when you bury a post into the ground, you want it to be at least a third to a quarter of the way into the ground. But
so it should have been, for a 12-foot post, it should be 3 to 4 feet. But that's assuming that it's going to be some sort of structural load that
like
you're
a fence
putting,
post,
like a fence post, or like we have our hose links mounted on wood posts, and they have a bunch of weight all out in one direction, so it's pulling on it. You know, you want to have a nice sturdy
solid base.
Yeah. But with these, it's just lightweight lights hanging on it, and it's just not. It's just not as critical. Yeah. 2 feet's plenty.
So by doing it that way, we are committing to not having anything super heavy on it. Like I will plant some plants that climb up it, but nothing super heavy like a wisteria or anything like that, just in case you decide to do the same measurements that we did. And we talked to my dad about this, who is an I was going to say, we got
engineer approval.
We got approval. We got approval for this decision, but there's just no way we could have dug deeper than 2 foot holes.
That was the bonus, is because more than 2 feet would have been, oh my goodness. Like,
there's just
getting down 2 feet was so hard.
Yeah, it would have taken us 4 months instead of 2 months
getting down
to do that
3
project.
or 4 feet. I mean, holy cow. Yeah, we would have been renting special tools from somewhere, I don't even know.
Yeah.
What
is he chewing on? What are you chewing on, bud? You hear chewing. Just Monty chewing on a toy. So just to answer your question, I got a lot of these questions, Sherry. It's a 10-foot tall post, and I'm really happy with that height. Like I said, I was really nervous about it, but I like it because it's high enough that you can see through. So I can see my greenhouse underneath the lights. It doesn't block anything, and I really, really like the height of it. But I was kind of...
So I was worried about it. I thought it was going to block our view of, like the greenhouse was going to look too like busy or muddled or something like that. But this height brings it just above, at least for our setup, it brings it above everything that we want to see. And
I think you could get away with shorter, if you wanted.
Yeah, you could.
I think you could get away with it.
But I like having it like way up there, that there's no, because they do hang down a little bit. Yeah. So they're not exactly, the lights or the strings are a little less than 10, they're probably more like 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it's like if you start getting down to 7 or 8 feet, you'd feel like it was on top of you.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, thanks for the question, Sherry. Next question is from one of my maintenance videos. I've really been enjoying doing maintenance videos because it allows me to get stuff done, right? Usually I'll do maintenance and not film it. So now it's kind of nice to film it. And so on this day, I did maintenance on the willow tree garden bed, which is in the front of my property. So Carol asks, does anybody in California ever put a box of oranges or limes out by the road for people to take for free? It would be nice for the people who don't have room for fruit trees to have some of that instead of throwing it away. Who knows? In Tennessee, I will never have that problem. Haha. So do people put boxes?
People are constantly trying to give away their citrus to like anybody who will take it.
We have a family friend, and she has one orange tree, and she used to come and bring us like a garbage bag full of oranges.
She'd be like, "Here, take that."
And she was so not upset, but disappointed once we got our fruit tree.
Like, sorry, you can't give us yours anymore.
Yeah. So yes, people definitely do that, and it's kind of like whatever crop is really common in Tennessee. That's how oranges are during December and January for us here in California. So I know it's really hard for people to see me throwing away the limes that dropped. Right? So I think that's why Carol was saying this, because in that video I was cleaning up all the limes that dropped off our tree.
The limes that look like lemons now because they all turn yellow when they get old.
They're done. They're done. So there is ways, you can donate. I donated most of my oranges last year to the food bank and everything like that. It's kind of hard to donate citrus at times. Here.
Yeah, to individuals, people are just like, I've got plenty of that. But the food bank was a good thing. That worked out well.
Yeah, and I'll probably do that for the oranges again. Yeah. Just because
there's just no way. We can juice and do everything we want with them, and we still have too many.
Yeah, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Okay, next video was my December blooming garden, which is where I planted my Mahonia, soft grass Mahonia in the shade, and I love that. Ugh, it's doing so well, first of all, and it just looks beautiful. So Shonda says, do you have a Daphne? I planted Perfume Princess now in its 3rd season, and it's such a reliable December bloomer. Evergreen, disease-resistant, average water. I just love it, and it's not far from you in Santa Rosa, California. Zone 9B, which I grew up in Santa Rosa. So, no, I don't have a Daphne, but it's on my list. And spoiler alert, I really want it for my January blooming garden. So I was going back and forth between choosing that for December or choosing that for January, and I just told everybody what I'm doing for my January blooming garden. But no, Shanda, Daphne is definitely on my list. But from what I read, it's kind of it kind of borders December and January. So I wanted to make sure that, the soft cress was definitely blooming in early December. And so I think the Daphne will definitely be blooming in January. But that is such a good suggestion, and I will be definitely.
I don't even know what Daphne is. I don't have any idea what that looks like.
It's supposed to smell like incredible.
Oh,
yeah,
neat.
it smells beautiful. Cool. Yeah, and I want to plant it over there in the secret garden as well.
Oh, okay. Is it a shade one also, or is it not?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay.
I'll figure it out. I just know that I want it.
The nice thing about that garden is we can do shade on one side and sun on the other side.
I know, it doesn't matter. Right? Okay, so next video is our December front garden tour. Terry says, good morning, Janie and Jason. Love the tour. Thank you. Question, do you think the orange tree will cast too much shade on the Gatsby Gal hydrangea? My answer for that is I don't think so, because here in California, or at least where I live, the hydrangeas need more shade than you think. They cannot handle full sun. And so the way that those hydrangeas are situated in between those two orange trees is they get about 4 hours of sun in the peak of the day. And then they're protected from the harsh evening sun. I wish they got more morning sun, but they just don't. So I actually think it's a perfect place for them, just because they'll get just 4 hours of kind of mid-afternoon sun, and I think that that'll be really good. I threw this in just to remind those of you who live in California or hot climates like Arizona, Nevada, that we actually need more shade for our hydrangeas than is recommended. So if you see on a plant tag that a hydrangea says part sun to full sun, absolutely not. It's like part shade to part sun for us, right? And you even have to protect it from the hot afternoon sun. That's just kind of like a no-go for us. So Terry, to answer your question, no, I think it will be okay. I mean, we will see. We'll see how it does, but I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be actually really happy right there. Next video is the December back garden tour. And Keith asks, what is behind the hot tub screen and that's all covered up with plastic?
It's the plastic is just a big heavy-duty tarp that's brown, so it blends in a little bit better. We had a blue one on there in one of the last videos at some point. But we got a half a cord of wood, right?
It's just wood.
It's just wood. It's just firewood.
Yeah.
That we will use for the wood burning hot tub.
Yeah.
Right?
So our hot tub is a wood-burning hot tub, and so it's basically like having a fire pit there. So we have to have a constant supply of wood, and we didn't think about where we were going to store the wood to keep it dry. Right? Yeah. We're like, oh yeah, just put it behind the screen, right? Yeah. And so now that it's raining, we put a tarp over it.
Yeah, but the tarp's working great. I had a light duty one before, and I just know from experience that that's not going to last. So I went and got a nice heavy duty one that is also, blends in a little bit better with the brown and whatever.
But I also don't want that a permanent solution.
Well, but for the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we store it on the deck? Like on the deck right there?
We might have problems with rotting.
You think?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, yeah.
Thanks, Keith. It's a tarp covering wood.
Very exciting.
Okay, so the last video was actually yesterday's video, planting bulbs in the stock tank. So that's where I planted some really, really pretty new Proven Winners bulbs. That was tulip and it was muscari, that I always want to call hyacinth, but it's muscari. So Gardening Granny says, what an interesting experiment. So what she's talking about is at the end of that video, I actually took out my tomato seedlings that I've been growing from seed in my office, and I'm hardening them off in my greenhouse because I'm planning to grow tomatoes in my greenhouse this winter to see if I can do it. So Gardening Granny says, what an interesting experiment. Will you need to pollinate the tomatoes by hand once they set flowers? Yes, I absolutely will. So, you know, you can get pollinators and put them in your greenhouse, like flies and stuff like that. I won't be doing that. I will just plan on pollinating them by hand. And there's a couple ways that you can do it. They do say that once you have the blooms on your tomatoes, you can just go and shake them, and that'll do it. That'll actually pollinate them. I think I'm going to do the paintbrush method, where you actually take a paintbrush and dust the pollen into the other flowers.
Really?
Just because I've never done that before and I want to try it. But yes, to answer your question, I absolutely will need to pollinate if I even get to the point that I get some flowers, some blooms on my tomatoes. So let's all cross our fingers that we do get to that point. And then last question is from Angie. Angie asks, how are the daffodils you moved to the road last year? So in the front zigzag planter, we had a big daffodil blend, and we left the foliage on and we transplanted them out to the front of the road. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed anything?
I saw this question, or a question, maybe not that question, but another person asked about that at some point too. Mm-hmm. And I kind of peeked out there. I spent maybe a minute, and I didn't see anything obvious coming up. So I'm a little hesitant.
It's early,
but that's what I thought too.
It's early.
It's early. Yeah. So, and the soil out there is not good at all. So I'm sure
it's definitely getting watered.
It's getting plenty of water.
I mean, yeah.
But I just figure we're not going to get like a huge percentage of them that are going to survive.
Yeah, it was just a test anyway. Like it's always hard to transplant. Yeah. And I transplanted before the leaves had completely yellowed out because I wanted to plant my summer annuals. Mm-hmm. So it was just to, instead of tossing them, basically. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it's like you said, it's early, so they might yet come up, but I haven't seen signs but I also haven't looked closely. And even we have some sprouts in the zigzag planter, which really good soil and all of that. Yeah. And no other grass growing around it, so it's obvious that you can see the little sprouts coming up. Out there is some low grass and weeds and whatnot growing, so it might be easy to miss. So I don't know.
But you have to remember there are different varieties of daffodils. Oh. The ones in the zigzag planter right here are the really strong, robust Dutch masters, and then the ones in the front are the more delicate ones from that blend.
Right.
So
do they bloom at different times too?
They can.
Oh, that was supposed to be a bit of a succession thing, wasn't it? Wasn't that the blend we got last year?
That was the one before it.
I can't keep track. Well, either way, they're still.
We'll watch it for you guys. We'll definitely keep you updated. No news means we don't see anything.
If we get a bunch of daffodils out there, we'll definitely show you.
That would be so beautiful. Yeah, that would be absolutely gorgeous if they do come up. But I haven't seen anything yet. But wait until probably February, I would say. So anyway, so that's it for December's question and answer. Let us know what you guys think about these question and answer videos. Like I said, we don't want to do too many. We were doing the coffee chats during the gardening season. We probably will start that again next year. We haven't quite decided yet.
We haven't decided yet. What I don't want to do is 5 days a week of one day of each 5. That seems like a lot for Q&A.
Yeah.
But
some people like it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let us know what you think. We could do. We might be able to squeeze in a 6th day again like we did before. Yeah. But we have a lot going on in spring too, so we'll see. Spring
is going to be really busy for us because we have the Best for the West collection coming out, which I'm so excited about. Cool. Yeah. And I have a ton of really fun events. So basically, all spring, I have an event. Yeah, just kind of all up and down the West, the Western states. So we will be putting that. Is it on the website already? Do you know?
I don't know if it's on there yet. I know it's going to be soon, but I don't know if it's on there yet.
So we will be announcing the garden centers that I'm going to. I'm really, really excited about it. And it's kind of all over. And Jason will be there, right?
Yeah.
For most of them.
For most of them. Yeah.
So it's going to be a really, really fun spring for us. And I'm excited to be able to share this collection with everybody. And like I said, the goal for this collection, the Best for the West collection, is to get more Proven Winners plants into more garden centers on the West Coast. So for those of you who don't live out here, we don't get a lot of Proven Winners plants just because we don't have a lot of growers. But by having this collection, it made it a lot more palatable for these growers because they knew exactly what to grow and exactly what Proven Winners and myself were going to push this year and talk about and get people excited about. So hopefully it'll bring more Proven Winners out here. So far, it seems to be working really well, and I'm excited about it.
People seem to be enthusiastic about it so far. So that's fun.
So that's why we're kind of questioning, are we going to do the coffee chat videos or anything like that, just because we know how busy it's going to be.
Yeah.
And fun.
It's going to be a busy spring.
It's going to be a busy spring. It's always busy spring. So
yeah.
Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today, because we're not getting in the garden today.